When you guys were filming, was it like you were bringing cameras along and basically just filming yourselves going on trek, but in the snow?
So listen, I never did trek, but I feel like I did. So it was so fun to write, and it was really an adventure to film. But it makes sense on the Oregon Trail in the late 1800s. And if the answer is yes, write it. Because literally, I was pulling Mallory through snow for 3 weeks of shooting.
Oh my God.
But it was just the best time. As you know, independent film, especially for theatrical release, it kind of lives or dies in that opening weekend, which is this week.
Exactly. And so it's so cool that you guys took that format and are making something so new and fresh with it.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to Midnight Strike Through Mormons. I'm your host, Cardinellis, and today I'm joined in the studio via the Zoom by a killer cast. We've got Brad Whitbeck, as well as Natalie Madsen, who is the ringleader, shall we say. I mean, the technical term, I believe, is producer / executive producer / I don't know. You could tell us the technical terms in a second here. But she's the one that runs the crew that made this super cool film, Go West, that comes out today in theaters. Starting in Utah with a limited theatrical release and then cruising to hopefully a theater near you. It's going to be out in Idaho and Arizona, other places like that. But from everything I've heard, it's a hilarious film with some really familiar faces, and we're going to talk to her all about it. So before I go any further, Natalie, introduce yourself. Tell us what's up, what's the movie about, the whole 9 yards, and then we're going to pepper you with questions.
Okay, great. Yeah. So my name is Natalie Madsen. I am one of the original 10 cast members of Studio C. We actually our story starts actually a long time ago, even though this is our first movie. I went to BYU and joined a comedy group called Divine Comedy in 2007. And as I was there, I did it for all 4 years of my undergrad, and I met some amazing people. I graduated in theater ed, I taught for a year, kind of thought, well, that was fun. And that's that. But BYU TV started developing a show called Studio C, and they asked me to be a part of it. So I stuck around and became a writer and a cast member, did that for about 7 years. And the 10 of us, the original cast, we really built that show for years and years and learned so much. About 5 years ago, we left that show to make our own company called JK Studios with the idea of, continuing the family-friendly, goofy, zany comedy that we've always made and loved to make, but start branching out into web series and sitcoms and movies. And so we're finally checking movie off the list. This is our very first one, and it's also our very first theatrical release. So we've always done everything on YouTube or online. So this is the first time we really want to physically gather people and experience something in the theater together, which is super exciting. So
nice.
The movie is called Go West, and it originally started, the idea actually was in development for longer than you might think. As we were developing shows and ideas for JK Studios, something on the list that we always loved was a pioneer sketch show. So more like a TV show, but everything's set in like late 1800s, early 1900s. Like so much was changing in the culture here in America. And of course, we live in Utah and create in Utah. And there's pioneer houses, and there's hand carts here from Trek, and there's mountains, and there's lots of supplies for that time period are here anyway.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, we always thought, let's make that into a show. We met these wonderful producers out of Arizona, Adam and Donovan Monteith, and they said, hey, we make small films. If you guys can come up with a really cheap idea, we can help fund it. And so we thought, what could be a movie? Like we've never written a movie before. And of course, we all grew up on Monty Python and the Holy Grail and things like that. Yeah. And we thought, hey, Monty Python's a sketch group. We're a sketch group. What if we follow that formula and make Monty Python of the Oregon Trail?
Wait, so you're a producer's dream is what you're saying. You made a cheap script.
Yeah, I guess so.
With cheap actors that could be filmed on local sets. Okay, yeah. I am going to interrupt you one thing because a hilarious memory from just this week happened to me. I produce a lot of streaming content, sometimes lower budget films that are called turnover films. Okay, for streaming, late night stuff, what they call trash TV sometimes, Sure, and then other times really great, awesome, impressive documentaries and so on and so forth, right? Well, a couple of the streaming partners that I work with have contacted some big producer friends of mine and said, hey, we want to branch out and diversify into possibly faith-based content, right?
Cool.
Do you know anybody, right? And so they're all rabid secularists. They didn't know anybody, but a bunch of them knew me and said, hey, I know this guy named Cardin. So in the meeting, it's hilarious. I will truncate this. But in trying to explain who members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are, who have this university called BYU, so on and so forth, my producer friend said, well, I know there's a lot of them in Utah, and they got an extra book, and there's this cool guy named Joseph Smith from like the 1800s. So they all sat, and it said, and there's 16 million of them, so there's a market. And then so one of the guys sits back and he goes, so Westerns? We can do Westerns? And he's like, yes, they have lots of stuff for Westerns. So,
yeah, I mean, a ton of, like, Yellowstone has been shot here, a ton of stuff. Utah has a really healthy film community. We just have incredible mountains, incredible locations. So yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer to take advantage of that.
So it's just like Just Add Wander filmmaking, except for you guys are funny.
Oh, well, I'll let you watch and you can decide if you think it's funny. But we're pretty proud of it. We're pretty proud of it.
I watched the trailer and it seems pretty hilarious. I recognize a lot of these guys actually from the viral commercials that have gone big and national even. Yep. And I got to tell you, homegirl who perpetually is dying of dysentery, it seems.
Yeah.
That's funny. So anyway, yeah, what's the movie about? I mean, it's called Go West. When you look for it, there's 15 Buster Keaton and Marx Brothers movies that come up with the same title. Is this
it is called Go West, and we called it Go West. There is a song by the Village People called Go West.
Oh, you did this after the Village People? This is awesome.
So we had this like pioneer sketch movie idea, and we were like, oh, that'd be fun. And so let me just kind of tell you about the process of how we wrote this. So we were really inspired by Monty Python. And so, we all kind of we all went and watched it and realized, oh, it's just like 25 sketches. And then there's like a little bit of like King Arthur searching for the Grail peppered in there.
Yeah.
And so we started meeting as a writers group, like we've done for years and years, same as what we did on Studio C. And we each would bring a few sketches, and just kind of the rules we gave ourselves was it just has to live in a Western world. And we knew roughly that there would be two sisters would be kind of the main heroes that we were following along this Oregon Trail. And you could use the sisters in your sketches or you could not, right? Like we just started super open, but in this parameter of like, would it make sense on the Oregon Trail in the late 1800s? And if the answer is yes, write it. If it sounds fun to you, write it. So we just pitched sketches for about 6 weeks together. We'd meet once a week and everyone would bring sketches, and we just were having the best time. Everyone was coming up with these crazy characters, and like in Monty Python, there's a scene where John Cleese is speaking to himself. He's the French guard and Lancelot.
Okay.
And when we were watching it, we were like, oh, we can play as many characters as we want, right? Like,
oh, yeah.
These rules are so fun.
Mm-hmm.
So that was another big inspiration for Monty Python. So like Jason in the movie plays like 5 different people, because why not? Right?
Okay, that's hilarious.
The rules are ours. It's our playground here. So anyway, we narrowed it down to about 30 scripts for sketches that we felt like these are pretty good. We feel pretty good about this. And then myself and Mallory and Whitney, so the 3 women in the group, we took those 30 sketches and we got an Airbnb for a weekend. And we said, okay, how can we thread it all together? We hunkered down for a few days and we came up with like, I don't want to spoil too much, but basically we kind of came up with the sister line, and we created like the handcart company that they go with. And they're all a bunch of misfits, and they're like terrible to travel with, of course.
Nice.
And we kind of mapped out where the different sketches would happen on the journey to Oregon. And it came together pretty smoothly. It was from let's maybe write a pioneer sketch movie to we have a script was about 2 months, which is super fast.
Wow. Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of that is because of our, 14, 15 years of writing sketches together. Mm-hmm. It happened really quickly, which was really fun. So that was kind of last summer. We really worked on that script. And then we started shooting in October of last year. And spoiler alert, in Utah, the snow came very early. We were hoping to beat the snow and film in October, and it snowed. So there's a ton of snow in the movie, but it looks incredible. And it kind of adds the stakes to like, they really got to get there. They're late. There's snow coming.
Oh, nice.
So it was so fun to write, and it was really an adventure to film. And we just had our premiere 2 nights ago in Utah, and it was very surreal and fun to be able to watch it on a screen and with fans. And it's been really great. It's been a really cool experience.
That is awesome. And now, when you guys were filming, was it like you were bringing cameras along and basically just filming yourselves going on trek, but in the snow?
So listen, I never did trek, but I feel like I did. You know what I mean? I never did it as a teenager, but now I have.
Now you have. Nice.
It was, you know what? It was a 15-day shoot, which was fast, but we had such a stellar crew. I want to say each day, I mean, it depended on how complicated the day was, but we had a pretty healthy crew. There's probably 30 or 40 crew members each day. And like I said, the weather was really extreme. So, I mean, a lot of like sweatpants under pioneer dresses and shawls, and like putting heavy coats on and taking them off for the shoot, you know, and putting them back on. Very, very cold. But honestly, it was just so lovely. We were just talking about it as a cast, how like on paper that should have been the most miserable shoot. I was pulling a handcart the whole time, and my sick sister, who has dysentery the whole time, is in the handcart. But I was pulling Mallory through snow for 3 weeks of shooting.
Oh my God.
But it was just the best time. Like, because we were all there together, and we've all been friends for so long and creating it was just such a dream to like be on set making our first movie. You know what I mean?
So awesome.
We were all just like excited to be there, even though it was so cold.
Okay, so how well has this been received so far? I mean, have you gotten data in? You gotten anecdotal evidence from your friends? Do you have a friend trustworthy enough to tell you if it sucked or not? You know what I'm saying? Like,
those are all great questions. So yeah, the premiere was on Monday. We had a big theater. I think there was somewhere between 700 or 800 people there to watch it for the premiere. And we got to meet some families after and take some pictures, and it was really good feedback. I know a few families went and saw it again the next day. My kids were there. My kids hadn't seen any of it. They wanted to wait until it was all done. And my kids have been quoting it nonstop today.
Nice.
A bunch of jokes. And even last night we had a few pre-screenings. I got to go to a couple showings and do like a surprise Q&A after. And I was asking so many questions, right? So we're gearing up for this national release on August 11th. And so this is a great time to maybe make some adjustments or trim that joke, or right. Like this is a good time for feedback. Mm-hmm. And it's honestly been super positive. I am just pleasantly surprised at how positive it's been. Families seem to really like it. I had some friends text me last night saying, I'm at this theater and it's full. I'm so excited. You know, so
nice.
We're still just trying to get the word out and let people know. As you know, independent film, especially for theatrical release, it kind of lives or dies in that opening weekend, which is this week and weekend. So we're just really gearing up for it, hoping people can make it out. And if they like it, that they come again and tell their friends.
Okay. Is that Stacey Harkey I just saw on that, you can't see this, but I'm flashing the trailer backwards and forwards.
So Stacey's in it. Everyone's in it. The whole original cast.
Okay, so I'll just tell you right now, as independent movie producer here in Los Angeles, there's some things that I'm hearing that are really, really good. First off, chemistry. Nothing beats people that are making films with their friends. In fact, one of the reasons why the Hollywood became so successful was it was birthed out of vaudeville. And those early filmmakers, those early film crews, before film was this big burgeoning industry, it was actually considered a novelty. In fact, Carl Laemmle, the owner of Universal Studios, kept half of the property of what is now Universal Studios, both where they film and where the theme park is, kept it as a chicken ranch that manufactured eggs, and he would sell them to the people that would come to watch the old Westerns because he was so convinced that films would be a passing fad, that once people got tired of the disconnection of film not being real performers, that there would actually be a return to vaudeville and he would need to go back to chicken farming. Okay. Little did he know.
I get it. Listen, I get it.
You know,
don't put your day job is very real in this industry. I totally get it.
But it's so interesting. The reason why I think though that those early films and those early filmmakers took off and the industry became the industry it is now is because when you watch some of those old films, we're disconnected from them now because we're disconnected from the teens and the 20s and 30s. But when you go back and you watch them, they really were just friends making films together, because that's the only people that had this stick togetherness to do it. There was no funding. The technology was all new. And really something that I enjoy about this trailer that I've seen, at least, I haven't been able to see the full thing yet. Hopefully, it comes here to Los Angeles as well. But it definitely does seem like there's a bunch of friends making a film together. And that is an intangible that can never be replicated. Also, you said something about the reviews are good. Something I thoroughly believe, and I told this to one of my friends. He's making a $60 million film, right?
Oh, wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, it would.
That budget sounds incredible.
I'll tell you right now, the stress level may or may not be worth it. All right, but anyway, he wanted to know if the script was good. You know what I'm saying? He was so worried about it because he was about to go to this meeting, and it was going to be one of those make it or break it meetings, and so on and so forth. And he said, "Well," I told him my thoughts, and he said, "Well, do you have anybody else that you that will read the script?" I said, "Here's what you need to do. You need to read it to the oldest man you can find, and the youngest kids you can find.
Yeah,
because if the old men like it, and the really, really young men like it, they're the only people that'll tell you the truth. If you can get a young man to say yeah, that's cool, and start quoting it, everybody's gonna like it." You know what I'm saying?
And that is one of the things that I think is a really cool signal to me that this is really good, Natalie, that your kids, after watching it, are just quoting it like crazy. Because that's exactly what I did with Monty Python, Right.
Oh, totally.
Exactly. And so it's so cool that you guys took that format and are making something so new and fresh with it. Because I can't think of a movie in the past decade that I've seen that is that style. So that's going to be awesome.
It's really different than anything out there right now. And of course, this is Barbenheimer week that we're coming out. So it's
oh man,
there's a lot to see, and it's so different. But we're hoping that people are just in movie mode anyway. And when they come to the theater, they'll see our poster and say, "Oh yeah, those guys," and they'll come and check it out.
So Natalie, tell us how people can see your movie, the best way to see your movie.
The best way to see it right this minute is if you're in Utah, go to a movie theater. It should be at any Megaplex, Cinemark, any movie theater you usually go to. August 4th will be in Arizona. August 11th, we'll start a nationwide release. The nationwide release, we're finalizing theaters right now. So if you're wanting a theater in your area, go to gowestthemovie.com and request a theater there. If we get enough requests, we can bring it to those theaters, and it's a better sell for us to get us there. But I can tell you, we just booked a theater in Chicago, Kansas, New York, and I think LA actually. So nice. I think we'll keep growing a lot. We'll this first weekend of ticket sales in Utah will kind of indicate a lot. So, but that's the best way to support and go see it.
Okay, well, check it out. The name of the film is Go West. You can check it out on gowestthemovie.com. Request it in your neighborhood if they don't have it, or visit, some of your relatives in Utah if you can. Thanks for hanging out with us, Natalie. This is Midnight Strike Through Mormons. We will see you guys in the next program.
Thanks, you guys.